Lads and ladies, welcome to this episode of the Debate Circle. The motion of the day reads, financial illiteracy is the only reason for the rampant gambling menace amongst the youth in Kenya. I read the motion again. Financial illiteracy is the only reason for the rampant gambling menace amongst the youth in Kenya. Proposing and opposing this motion are Anestar Victory Boys Team A and Anestar Victory Boys Team B. All the best to both teams. With that said, first proposer, you have 3 minutes.
Ladies and gentlemen, do you hear that? It sounds like the devil is here to lie to you that financial illiteracy is not the only reason for the rampant gambling menace among the youth. But don't worry. I, your Messiah, is here to save you from these lies. My name is Ian Bogo, here to strongly propose the motion that states financial literacy is the only reason for the rampant gambling menace amongst the youth. Let me start by defining all the motions in this debate, in this motion. I'll start by defining financial illiteracy. Financial illiteracy refers to the lack of knowledge and understanding of financial principles and concepts necessary for making informed and effective decisions regarding financial management. This includes a lack of understanding budgeting, saving, investing, and the implications of debt. To my next definition, gambling. Gambling is wagering of money or something of value on an event with an uncertain outcome, with the primary intent of winning additional money or material goods. Common forms of gambling include sport betting, lotteries, casinos, and online gambling. Because I'm so generous, I will define youth for you. Youth typically refers to young people, often defined as individuals between the age of 15 and 24. In the context of the discussion, it refers to the young population of Kenya who are particularly undergo gambling-related issues due to various socio-economic and psychological factors. Ladies and gentlemen, my first point in this motion is financial illiteracy as the primary cause. Financial illiteracy is a significant factor contributing to the rampant gambling menace among Kenyan youth. Many people lack the basic financial knowledge to make informed decisions about their money. A 2020 report by Central Bank of Kenya highlighted that a significant portion of the population lacks basic financial literacy skills, which correlates with the poor financial decisions, including gambling. And with all that I've said, ladies and gentlemen, I want to close it off by saying, please join me in proposing this motion that states financial illiteracy is the only reason for the rampant gambling menace amongst the youth in Kenya. Thank you.
So here we are, being told that the solution to the rampant gambling menace among the youth in Kenya is as simple as flipping through a few literacy textbooks, as if understanding the nuisance of interest rates and budgeting will magically eliminate the allure of a jackpot win. Look, I have friends. I mean, we all do have friends, but my friends are quite different. My friends will probably never get to be a pilot. Dear God, I don't even think they'll ever enter a plane. But boy, do they enjoy seeing that aviator plane fly, as if that's the point where they expect that truly, the sky truly is a limit. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Nevel Joe Mutiga, representing the Anestar Victory Boys, here to argue that no, financial illiteracy is not the only reason for the rampant gambling menace among the youth in Kenya. With me here is my team. We have Henry as the second and Kelson as the third. Now people, The only reason I'm here is to convince you. And the only way I can do that is as if you understand that the motion advocates to the idea that the primary or sole cause of this rampant gambling menace among the youth in Kenya is simply due to the lack of financial skills and knowledge. You'll also have to understand some terms, such as financial illiteracy. This is a lack of knowledge and understanding of financial principle. Another is rampant gambling menace. This is a widespread and pervasive problem where a significant portion of youth engage in gambling activities which have social, economic, and personal consequences. Now, on to my argument, which is based on the high unemployment and poverty levels in Kenya. This drives the youth to gamble, but as a last resort of getting something to add in their pocket. We all know, let's take a step back. Look at the country we are in. Beautiful Mother Kenya. We all know about the current unemployment rate in our country. Dear God, the economy at current state. We also know about the current protest which has been taking place, where the youth are fighting the finance bill, not because money is the issue, but because accountability is the issue. They might be working but receiving few pay, forcing them to gamble, but as a last resort to gain something in their pocket. Our opposers might have you believe that if only these young people knew how to balance and checkbook, all will be well. But let's look at the bigger picture. While financial illiteracy is indeed a significant factor considering gambling among the youth in Kenya, it is not the only reason. We have economic condition. We have a regulatory environment where the government actually allows the menace of gambling to take place. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, I rest my case and leave it to the second. Thank you.
As the clock is always ticking, my gang is always busy. I'll take you through the world of time where imagination is beyond wildest dreams. My name is Mark Mwema from the Anestar Victory Boys High School, here to propose the motion that states that financial illiteracy is the only reason for the rampant gambling menace amongst the youth in Kenya. Now, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to first introduce you to the problem. You see, financial illiteracy has emerged as a significant contributor to the rampant gambling among the youth in Kenya today. This issue stems from a lack of understanding of basic financial principles, leading youth individuals to seek quick financial gains through gambling activities. Also, through statistical insights, according to the data from the National Council on Problem Gambling, NCPG, states that 70% of young Kenyans engage in some form of gambling, with a substantial portion attributing their initial interest to financial difficulties and aspirations of quick wealth. This statistic undergoes the persuasive nature of gambling among the youth and highlights the need for targeted interventions. Just as a farmer takes after his crops, so as the family takes after the child. Spare the road and spare the child. Families and communities play a crucial role in shaping financial behaviors and attitudes towards gambling. However, due to widespread financial illiteracy, many parents are ill-equipped to get their children effectively. Also, educational deficiency. The lack of formal financial education in schools and communities leaves many Kenyans without the necessary skills to manage money responsibly. This educational gap not only perpetuates financial instability but also increases susceptibility to risk financial behaviors like gambling. I'd like to ask you questions. What reforms are needed in education sector to integrate practical financial literacy program? Another point is that impact on advertising and accessibility. The proliferation of gambling platforms and aggressive marketing strategies further exacerbate the problems. Questions arise about whether regulations are adequate to protect vulnerable people like the youth from such persuasive marketings. Now, how can regulations be strengthened to limit youth exposure to gambling advertisements? I rest my case by saying you can never cross the ocean until you lose sight of the shore. So please, let us lose our sight and cross the ocean, but help the youth.
From the Anestar Victory Boys, my name is Henry Celiando, here to oppose this motion. First of all, the first speaker said that our youth is aged between 15 to 24. But I quote from the Kenyan Constitution that a youth is aged between 18 to 35 years of age. You say lack of understanding of basic financial principles is what makes people gamble. But look at this. Brian, a university graduate with a degree in finance from the University of Nairobi, faces financial challenges. He's financially literate, right? He can tell you about compound interest and the benefits of diversification faster than you can say investment portfolio. But unfortunately for Brian, Kenya's youth unemployment rate stands at a whopping 39%, according to the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics. Finding a job is like trying to find a needle in a haystack. But here's the catch. You are blindfolded and one hand is tied behind your back. Despite his qualification, Brian finds himself on the grim reality of economic hardship. With an empty wallet and a stack full of bills, Brian sees gambling not as a gamble, but as a calculated risk. I mean, look at it this way. Aren't all businesses just calculated risks? Brian views gambling as his financial savior, a last-ditch effort to climb out of the financial pit he's stuck in. So, you say that financial illiteracy is the only reason. Take a look at this. Botswana is the most financially literate country in Africa, with 52% covering financial literacy. Botswana have financial literacy as a subject in all their educational levels. But wait, 80% of the youth in Botswana gamble. So, your point is invalid. Brian understands the importance of saving and investing. He's read all the personal finance books and follows all the financial gurus online. But what is the use of all this knowledge when about 17% of Kenyan youth are financially excluded, meaning they don't have access to formal financial services like banks and credit facilities? I quote that information from the conversation.co.ke, published on the 9th of May 2024 at 6:25 p.m. With all this said and done, we can all comfortably agree that financial illiteracy is not the only reason for the rampant gambling menace amongst the youth in Kenya. I rest my case and also that of my opponents. Thank you.
It is often considered that it takes a society to raise a child and a child to build a society. But how can we as a society raise children in a country infested with poverty due to financial illiteracy? Ladies and gentlemen, I am Tariq Al-Abdi here from the Anestar Victory Boys to strongly propose the motion that states that financial illiteracy is the only reason for the rampant gambling menace amongst the youth in Kenya. Let me introduce you to Alex. Alex is a 25-year-old Kenyan who is unemployed despite having a degree in law and who hopes to make it in life. But how, I wonder? Gambling. Gambling is Brian's loophole out of poverty, he says. But is it? Ask yourselves. A study by the Kenya Research Institute found that a significant number of youth who engage in gambling do not track their expenditure or set aside money for essential needs. These youth are all Alexes who gamble with much more than they have, making them poor and left in debts. This is clear and enough proof of financial illiteracy among the youth. A research done by Betting Control and Licensing Board shows that 76% of the youth in Kenya are bettors whose gambling revenue, as recorded from 2016 to 2017 financial year, adds up to a sum of 198 million Kenyan shillings, which is not even half the amount allocated to health by the government in this country. This money can be invested and help reduce our debts as a country, but yet it is wasted on gambling. The youth are the pioneers and lamp bearers of our future. But is there a future if the future is gambling? That's the question. We can run around like headless chicken, but financial illiteracy is the crux of the matter affecting the youth. Just as a ship requires a steady hand on the helm to navigate stormy waters, our economy requires prudent fiscal policies to weather down financial illiteracy, as it is the defining challenge of our time. I rest my case. Thank you.
While financial illiteracy is a significant factor contributing to the rampant gambling in Kenya, let us not be blind by labeling it as the sole cooperator. I am Kelson Kiru from the Anestar Victory Boys, and I am here to strongly oppose the motion that states financial illiteracy is the only reason for the rampant gambling menace in Kenya. Let me introduce you to Sheila. She is a business graduate who gambles. She does not gamble because she's financially illiterate. She gambles because she loves the thrill, the fun, the adrenaline it surges upon her body. At the end of the day, isn't she a graduate from the university? She represents a majority of the youth in Kenya who gamble not because they are poor, not because they are financially illiterate. They gamble just because they have fun. They gamble it because it is something that they do for part-time. A research by XYZ Research Institute shows that about 70% of Kenyan youth perceive gambling as a recreational activity. This represents our economy. This represents our country today. How do we blame the government and the youth for being financially illiterate? Well, it is something normalized. It is cultural for youth to be betters. This normalization of gambling has deeply influenced youth attitudes and behavior. Hear thee, hear thee, hear thee. They may tell you lies. They may tell you rumors that financial literacy is the only reason for the rampant gambling menace amongst the youth in Kenya today. But, surprise, surprise, I am your financial messiah. I am here to give you what is needed. I am here to take you out of the pit hole of doom and so-called statistics that are so-called rumors that they present to you. We are all aware that youths like Sheila are drawn to inherent in gambling due to peer pressure. Wow, Sheila just won 20,000 shillings. Maybe, just maybe, if I try it out, I will also win that money. Let me place a bet and try my luck. This is Brian saying, but how will I know? Will he win? No, it's a possibility. The possibility of gambling. There's a risk and challenge to all of us. This is clear and precise evidence to oppose the motion, to oppose and support us by saying, financial illiteracy is not the only reason for the rampant gambling menace among the youth in Kenya. A study by Betting Control and Licensing Board shows that a staggering 76% of Kenyan youth are bettors. Yet, this is culturally accepted and normalized. Mommy, daddy, can we place a bet on Arsenal? Mommy, daddy, let's look for extra money so that we can go out for tomorrow. How do we get this money? We gamble, but we are not financially literate. We know what you're saying. In conclusion, let us not be like the proverbial ostrich that hides its head beneath the surface. Let us face the cold hard facts that financial illiteracy is not the only reason for the rampant gambling menace in our society. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, do you really think there is another reason for the rampant gambling issue, if not financial illiteracy? Let me just help you to answer that question. No. Can you imagine putting a man out there with no knowledge about the financial life that goes on outside? That's the same as putting a monkey in front of the wheels. Please, let's be reasonable. As the opposers have said, that financial illiteracy is not the only reason. Please. Knowledge is everything. You cannot survive without knowledge. To finish off, so please join me to educate the youth on the importance of financial illiteracy. Thank you.
I believe that this is a debate of facts and not just good English. We have provided you with facts. You say financial illiteracy is the only reason. How dare you? And you claim to be the so-called messiah. We have given you alternative reasons: economic hardship, limited access to formal financial services, high unemployment and poverty levels, driving youth to gambling. Well, let me put this on, as I cannot see the sense in your proposal. Well, I am a prophet. Don't you believe me? Okay, let me give a prophecy. You will breathe in the next 60 seconds. So I prophesy, the only way to curb the gambling menace is to do away and contain the facts we put out, not by eradicating so-called financial illiteracy. I rest my case. Thank you.
Thank you very much, both speakers, both teams, for the awesome competition. We really enjoyed the debate. Allow me to begin by commending the proposers, and I'll start with Ian Mbugua. You had great confidence. It was really admirable to see you, how you defined financial literacy and gambling, and went ahead to give the certain examples of gambling that you are referring to. But I want to caution you, be very careful not to spend much time on definition of content words. You may end up spending like 1.5 minutes of your speech, and then you're left with only half of the time to sum up your case. I want to go to Mark Mwema. I loved how you mentioned the issue of understanding on financial concept and the other examples that you gave that are connected to financial literacy. But I also want to caution you, minimize reading. Once you begin reading almost 70 or 80% of your speech, people tend not to trust you anymore, because once you stop referring to that piece of paper and you cannot speak to your content, it then becomes problematic. The next thing is, when you're giving statements, provide complementary examples so that they just don't run as statements, but you can substantiate the kind of examples that you are given. I'll go to Tariq. You're a very good speaker. I want to commend you on that. I loved your allegory of Alex to counter Brian's that had been provided. But then I would need you to also work on substantiating the kind of examples that you are giving. Quickly to the opposition, I wish to commend all the speakers for the awesome kind of confidence that you displayed, and there was an attempt to fulfill roles, especially for Joe and Henry. But then I also want to caution you that you need to organize your points well, so you do not have to quickly sum up your speech once you hear the bell. I also need you to be careful about non-content elements that end up eating your time.
Financial illiteracy is the only reason for the rampant gambling, menace amongst the youth in Kenya. One of the things I was hoping to get from your end is the facts and figures. How much money is being gambled in Kenya? It's in the billions, right? To the extent that we can even sponsor international teams abroad. That's the reason why you had a powerful point to stand by telling us, listen, guys, all the billions we are giving to these betting companies, and some of the addicts that we have who can't let their phones go and can't wait for another game, some of the people in rehab stations because of this kind of things, there was no emotional appeal to that. You get it? I'm the one who's telling you this. The amounts of money that we every year go through those betting companies, the amounts of turmoil in families and trying to resuscitate people who are already addicted into these things, those are the kind of conversations that I felt you should have brought in to tell us that really it's a financial literacy menace for us to have this rampant gambling menace amongst the youth in Kenya. So was that fulfilled? No. I think you agree with me already. I can see you saying no. So there was much desired in terms of mastery of topic from your end, and much is still yet. It doesn't be the cause that you're great speakers, all right? But where is the mastery of topic? A debate without real mastery of topic is nothing. It's just people yapping up. So thank you so much for that. Abdi, you stood out in your team, though. You're a good speaker. To the opposers, you had an easy way of really giving us many other reasons why we have the rampant gambling menace amongst the youth in Kenya. And yes, I want to appreciate some of the examples you gave us. But point to note is that the first two speakers, you're not good speakers, you are outstanding speakers. So well done on that, all right? You caught our attention, we could feel how you spoke, and that was good as well. That doesn't mean that, Kelson, you're not, all right? You're also a good speaker. What I felt for you as well, there's a bit of coherency, and when you're trying to jump over to another subject of thought, I could tell it was almost rehearsed. Don't do that, okay? Look at the other guys. You can tell this is what people are reasoning based on even some of the facts that we have. But you're a good speaker as well. All the best to the teams. We wish you well.